Monday, May 6th, has issued a high risk of severe weather, and it is confirmed that it is causing damage. Again, it's this little area right here. If you are in this area north of Parkham, Now, hello everybody, my name is Christian and welcome back to Skycast. Been a bit since we've made a video, but we are back, and today we're going to be talking about a pattern shift into early parts of March. But before we do get there, I want to get into today's severe weather risk. Today we do have this marginal risk of severe weather. This is going to be across parts of southeast Florida, Miami, Coral Springs, up into Vero Beach, including the Palm Beach and the West Palm Beach area. This is especially going to be across I-95 and into I-75 as well down here towards Coral Springs. This is not an insanely intense threat. This is just going to be the potential for a few pop-up thunderstorms. And if we look on radar, this is already ongoing over here towards Port St. Lucie, off the coast of Fort Lauderdale. These are not going to be insanely severe storms, but this is the potential for there to be strong thunderstorms throughout the evening that will cause downpours and maybe a few wind gusts above 60 miles an hour. No tornado threat with this, very minimal hail threat, really just going to be a travel concern, especially if we get these big old downpours that are going to be moving across the interstate areas. So if you're traveling, be wary and stay cautious. Now, across the United States, especially across the eastern part, things are remaining a little bit more cooler towards this weekend, and that will change into next week. But want to dive into a little bit of this first. If we kind of take a look up here at the Midwest, we do have a little bit of a snow swath that is expected. This is from the HRRR. This is not expected to bring a wild amount, but I would say that likely between maybe 1 to 4 inches. That would be my guess. But wherever the highest snow bands set up, especially across as we get into more of the northeast area, but definitely some snow totals possible across this region eventually as we get out into parts of the midday on Sunday. That will move out to the coast, and we're going to be watching this other area right here for rain and snow development. Models have been very flip-floppy on where this does end up developing, but the latest HRRR right here, let's zoom this in. The latest HRRR, the long-range HRRR, has this kind of beginning to form across northern Missouri into southern Iowa right here. And if we continue and we play this through, one thing that we will need to watch is the temperature gradient area. Basically what that means is the line between snow and the line between the freezing mix and the rain. And it has actually shifted a little bit north on models. It was kind of around the parkway areas right here, kind of the Bluegrass Parkway and north. Now it's more towards the I-60. That's a really bad line, but now it's more towards the I-65 I-64 corridor and north. So areas that will have that winter precipitation will definitely need to watch out for some icy conditions. This system in its own self will once again bring between a coating to 2 inches, maybe some locally higher. This is not a major winter storm at all, but definitely something to bring a few more festive flurries as we get into March, followed by some rain behind that. This is as far as this the AT&T HRRR goes, but this will eventually continue to move out to the northeast, and that will be yet to bring another snow chance for the New England states across the northeast. So definitely something to keep an eye on for the snow. Once this passes, we're going to be getting into a pattern change that's going to warm everything up. Let's talk about that. Now, as the cold begins to move out, basically this big old jet stream right here, that's that last bit of that cold beginning to move off to the north. We're going to get a heat up across the United States. Let me show you a graphic that the Climate Prediction Center posted on that. Yeah, so here's the next 6 to 10 days from the Climate Prediction Center. After that trough moves out, all that cold air and that last little bit of snow moves out, we are really going to be heating up. 6 to 10 day outlook. Really, standard temperatures out here towards the west coast, but as we get towards the east coast where we're getting into that March period, we're getting into that tornado season period, really going to start heating up to 80% chance of above average temperatures for the Gulf states all the way over into Kentucky and Indiana. And then it keeps going down and down, but we're still going to see probability for above average temperatures. And we have already seen this. I mean, Texas, South Texas yesterday reached 104 degrees. So definitely some intense warmth that's about ready to come. South Texas is always warm, but it really just goes to show how intense temperatures are about to get. So it's really gonna start transitioning from that winter time, that snow, that cold, all the way into its tornado season. It's warm and it's humid, and we're gonna have to keep tracking that for multiple severe weather chances. Now, one thing we will need to keep an eye on, and this is the one that we are currently watching, is going to be this trough setup right here. This comes out of the Rockies, out of the West Coast on the 3rd, and the Storm Prediction Center has issued a severe weather probability risk for this. But this will begin to kind of eject into the plains, and it's not really incredibly strong. Have we seen like the yellows up here and the dark reds over here? This trough is not as strong, but it's still evident enough that would bring a severe weather risk, and the National Weather Service has highlighted an area for that. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted Tuesday the 3rd and Wednesday the 4th for severe weather probabilities. Specifically, this risk has been issued for Wednesday. This is a slight risk equivalent, but this is a 15% chance. This is not on the convective outlook day 1 through 3. We always talk about previously how when issuances like this occur, that means that there's a lot more confidence of a severe weather event, and that is the potential for there to be some significant thunderstorms, especially with the confidence that we have. So no exacts yet on that, but something to watch to see how this trends, because that confidence is there for severe weather, and that signal has been there for a decent amount of time. This risk does exist for Dallas up into the rural southeast area of Oklahoma. Really bad radar spot. Up into I-40, just west of Little Rock, just northwest of Shreveport. Does include Tyler, Texarkana, a lot of different interstates here, I-20, I-35, I-30. So if you're in this area, this shaded region, this will likely expand depending on how things trend as we get closer in time. But if you're in this area, as we get into early March, keep an eye out and have your local forecast office on standby. Keep an update to their pages. And even as that trough does move out, we can really begin to show how springtime is showing up. If this will load. Okay, I got it to load now. As I was talking about, as you know, this is the trough that we're looking at, that severe weather threat for the day 4, day 5. As we continue to play this out on the GFS, yet another trough enters the United States, or does become relatively intense, and then even more ejections occur from the west, with this big trough bringing multiple days of jet stream winds across the United States. And we're getting into, really far out territory, but this is kind of just a great example that springtime is here. As we continue to get more moisture, as we can continue to get more instability, we're going to be getting into tornado season. And now is the time where we need to be discussing with our families, preparing, and making sure that we know what to do when the severe weather does hit. So besides that, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for choosing Skycast as your go-to weather place. My name is Christian. You can follow me on X. Link is in the description. Have a great day. Stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next one.